How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing well. It's great to see you, Ash.
Likewise. Likewise. Oh, how do I define self-sabotage? Um,
Hmm.
it gets in the way of the true alignment.
Hmm.
Self-sabotage is wanting things to be one way rather than accepting exactly how they are.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's the foundation of it.
So it's wanting. You're saying it's wanting things to be what they are not, like wanting, like having an expectation, but then being hit with reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the foundation of self-sabotage is the inability to accept things exactly how they are and when they are. It's the inability to be purely present with what you need to do and who you need to be in that moment to get to where you need to go. We're always projected forward or into the past and not present. So self-sabotage is the idea that we should be any place other than exactly where we are.
Hmm. Okay. So it's the wanting to be over there and not the acceptance of the here, the
Yeah,
right here.
yeah, let's be here. Let's be here. And what if I used my mind in the way it's supposed to be used and told myself I'm exactly where I'm meant to be? Shifting our perceptions into our preferences.
Okay. Okay. When was a moment that you can recall where you had to do that?
Oh,
Like you
every
had to,
Jerome, every
you
day.
said every day?
Every day I'm doing that. Every day. Every day I have to consciously pull myself back into this now moment and choose who I want to be. And is my energy aligned with that version of me, or am I seeking? Am I reaching? Am I worried? Am I concerned? Or am I just holding frequency? The self-sabotage is the inability to be present at the
Mm,
most foundational level.
right. Because I mean this is a really great topic because I know that one of the things that you talk about is asking the right questions. You
Yeah.
know, and something that you asked that's really a great one to get, to really move the energy to shift and to lift is what's next. You ask the question, what's
Yeah.
next? What's next? You're already where you need to be. You're already in alignment. You're right on time. What's next? But is in asking that question, are we still in the present when we're thinking about the future?
Ooh, you got me. I mean, there's the delicate dance,
Mhm.
and it's waiting for that answer, because sometimes when I'm in the thick of things and I really don't like what is happening, I want to get out of that as soon as possible. But if I turn off the mind, turn on the heart, strengthen those connection links with intuition, I'm going to find more often than not that I'm exactly where I need to be, present with that, and to feel it, to accept it fully. And then from that point of presence, I know exactly what to do and when to do it, because I've taken the time to sit with it, to understand it, to observe it, and to learn from it rather than running away from it by the doing.
Right, right. So it's like the only way to get with it is to sit with
Yes, I love that. Say that again.
it.
Great, great. Say it again.
You said it, you know? You said it. So the only way to get with it is to sit with it. That's what you said.
And the only way out is through. You have to go through it. You cannot avoid it. You can't bury it. It's going to get stuck in an organ.
Mhm.
Like, the only way out is through. So don't self-sabotage by thinking you need to do. Like, sit with it. Like really sit in the center of your reality and observe what's going on around you.
Okay. Okay. What's something that's amazing that's happened in your life when you just realized that all you had to do was be still? You know, like what's something that shifted that, was you didn't even know that this was coming or this would happen, but all you had to do was stop doing and just start being. Yeah.
Better alignments. So one door closed, one opportunity I thought was so bright, so shiny, so great. I sat because it was the opportunity, but it wasn't for me. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So rather than reaching, I sat and I focused on my alignment. I focused on my connection. It's just intention. I focused on my connection with myself, with my higher self, what was possible for me without defining it. And I sat in that. I sat in the discomfort. I sat in the rejection. And eventually it led me to new doors, better doors, bigger doors.
Okay. And is it that we close, like, do we close the door on possibility when we try to define the possibility? Like, when we try to define it, is that like closing the door?
When we try to define it, is that
Because you
closing?
said, like, without defining it, don't define it.
Yeah.
You're not, like, let it go, just let it be what it is.
I want to try to explain it in the most easily understandable way. It's like you want to focus on exactly what you want from center, from the center of yourself, because we're working in a vibrational reality. You want to specify your resonance. How do you want to feel when that opportunity arises, and not to define it? So, for example, I want to work there. I want to work with them. Don't limit yourself. How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Because your higher self has situations, opportunities, experiences lined up for you that you will miss if your logic gets in the way and tries to define it. I've noticed this. I've self-sabotaged because I was unable to surrender to my intuition, to the path. I wanted to control it based on what I've known up until now. But we don't know what we don't know, and we're not going to align with new avenues and ways of being if we're working with the same old logic. So we have to surrender. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
It makes perfect sense because, surrendering is one of the hardest things for people to do, especially when we're used to wanting to have control. Like some people feel that they're out of control, and then some people are used to being in control of certain things, and when they don't have that control, it can be very shaky, you know. And so, what do you feel is the most challenging thing about surrendering that you've observed for most people?
Understanding, our seasons and our ebbs and our flows. Like when you went like that, that's it. That's exactly how it looks from a metaphysical standpoint. The structure of your reality. Sometimes you're in expansion, you're in growth, you're in evolution. And then other times you're feeling that healthy tension. You're feeling the pressure. You're feeling the contraction. And you use that. It's what we do with it. It's the momentum. Like I will sit with it, and that will become my fuel to propel me into expansion. So we have these seasons, we have these ebbs and flows. I think the most challenging thing is accepting and understanding your specific ebbs and flows and releasing comparison to what everybody else is doing, how it looks for them.
Yeah.
For me personally, and for a lot of people I've worked with, that's the most challenging.
That's a huge one. That's a huge one. One of my friends always told me that they said, Ashley, they said, comparison is the thief of all joy.
Yeah.
They said comparison, it robs you of your joy when you say, like to dream of the person you'd wish to be is to waste the one you are, you know? So where do you feel like maybe years ago, or maybe there was times, I know that people get caught up in comparison when, they're watching social media or they're watching, these celebrities, or they're seeing these beings on the pedestal, or they're seeing somebody that they revere or they idolize or they admire. And but then even though that person can inspire, they might feel like, you know, that they're not enough in comparison to that person. So was there ever a time that you got caught up in that game of comparison?
Yes. There was a big chunk of my life where all I cared about was my social group, my, you know, social status, the clothes I wore, the car. I was completely within that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then you wake up, hopefully you wake up and you break free from the program, because it is exactly that. It's a program that keeps you on that wheel of consumption and consumerism, and separate from what you're truly meant to be, which is human, and to experience humanity and the love and the unity and everything that's possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've definitely been there.
Okay, so you're no longer there now when it comes to
I I I'm aware of my shadow side. Like, I'm aware of it. I love that part of me. But it doesn't define me. It's just the character I play.
Yeah.
On a larger, grander scale, like, I'm soul, and I know soul. I know my soul.
Yeah.
This is my character. This is my persona, which is limited, you know, by the world of form. But ascension is about ascending. Once we've descended into these bodies to work with this density. And now we need to ascend higher to understand the part we play in the greater whole and the interconnectedness of all things. If you can rectify contrast with another, the deeper the contrast, the more powerful you are, the more self-mastery you have. If you can have compassion for someone who's created a heinous act, that's your self-mastery. That's your contribution to the whole.
Whoa. Whoa. So that's what you would say is true compassion, like to have compassion for someone who makes it hard to be compassionate.
Yeah. 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 And I think we had this conversation, something similar to those lines, once before, about, you know, depth and understanding and where we currently are as a race within the game of duality. We have that. The only way to really get out of that is to rise above it and to see everything more neutral, which is very challenging, because we're human and we are dealing with high levels of emotion, that energy in motion.
Mm-hmm.
We have to neutralize the hate and disgust we feel when we see something, to neutralize the depth of pain we experience when we are running a victim program, when that is the part we play within the whole of humanity, because there's people that are playing that part unconsciously. Like, we have to rise above that. So the victim and the victimizer are two parts of the same whole, two parts of the game.
Okay, like the yin and the yang,
Yeah.
you know, the light and the dark. You know, it's interesting. Like I get so many flashbacks of reading Lao Tzu's book. It's called the Tao Te Ching. And when you were speaking, Ashley, it's like there's a passage in this book, and they have so many gems of wisdom, but one of them says, like, trust the trustworthy and also trust the untrustworthy. And that is true trust. I think it says something like that, like to be able to have that neutrality, you know, to be able to not be on one side of or the other side of the fence, but to be, you know, one with the all. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing.
You gave me goosebumps in my crown when you said that.
What I said, what?
What you just mentioned, to
Oh,
trust both the untrustworthy and the trustworthy.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
And you know, that's not an easy thing to do.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to need more of that. We're going to need more of those individuals who can be that neutral, because everything that's coming out, we're going to see a lot of stuff's coming out. The truth is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that truth presenting itself to people that are, you know, so far on this end of the spectrum or so far on this end of the spectrum, and, you know, seeing everything as black or white.
Okay.
We
Okay.
need neutralizers, because we're playing this game of energy.
Neutralizers is like it's like you know, people who are, no, that's a different thing. I was almost thinking of a deneuralizer. You ever seen Men in Black? They
Yeah.
would neutralize a situation with a gadget. So they would have a gadget, and you know, Will Smith and you know, Agent J and Agent K, they would come up to a scene where people had seen something that was beyond belief. It was beyond the realm of their humanity, their imagination. Like they couldn't, like, did I just see what I thought I saw? You know, like I think I thought I saw what I think I seen, like aliens, you know, just running amok. And so the Men in Black would come with this device, and the gadget was called the deneuralizer.
Oh.
And they neutralize the situation by look here, please. And they would put on their glasses, and they would, and then it would just be this big old flash, you know, and then they'd be like, all right. And then the person would just completely forget what happened. Their memory would be erased. Their minds, they would just, how did I get here? I don't know how I'm here, you know? It's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. But that's how they would neutralize the situation with the deneuralizer.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's so, as you're saying that, it's making me think about, you know, what I pay attention to. And you asked me if I ever been in that place, and it's like, yeah, I was in that place because I watched a lot of TV and I had specific conversations and friends groups. And it wasn't until I really, you know, lost everything and broke away from that I was able to reel it back in and remember.
It took you losing everything in order to remember?
Yeah. I lost a lot. I went through a lot of big changes at one point in my life, and it just was like a recalibration.
And you make it sound like it was necessary, like it had to happen.
Yeah. I think that it's that way for a lot of people who awaken, especially if they were as programmed as I was. The awakening is uncomfortable. I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening in 2015, or no, 16. Previous to that Kundalini awakening, I was preparing. So I was hearing things, I was getting visions, I was preparing my space for what was about to happen to me. Kundalini awakened, started running up and down my spine. It would get stuck in the back of my head, crazy headaches. My body broke out in this rash. They thought I had lupus. It was not lupus. I needed to shift my diet, to shift my mindset. And eventually I regulated. I healed myself. I healed my mind. I healed my body. And I'm still working on my detoxification pathways, but we don't understand there's so much to this human body, this technology, what we can do with it. Not only what we can do energetically, but what we can do biologically with the energy around us, like to really ascend within our consciousness, but also our physical body. Like there's so much more. And I don't want to go too much into that because it hasn't really been scientifically proven, but I believe our bodies can neutralize negativity and toxicity.
Yeah. I mean, why?
What we understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Why? You know, I mean, they're neutralizing things that we don't even know about as we speak.
Yeah. Like you're the portal. You're the portal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally believe that the body, I mean, has so much. There's so much. I just read something that really resonated with me. It said, your body has greater wisdom than your deepest philosophy. There's more wisdom in your body than in your deepest concepts, your deepest philosophies. Like your body, it has it all. It has the ability to do things that would boggle the mind. We struggle to explain, we struggle to quantify what the body does effortlessly, what it does on its own, what it does without our conscious awareness. So when you're talking about, the descending, that we have descended in order to ascend, and you're talking about Kundalini, for those who have never even heard that word Kundalini, and you described your experience, you're like the up and down the spine, some people would say it's like an endogenous, orgasm, or something that's happening within you. But how did it feel for you? What was it like for you when you had that awakening?
Uncomfortable.
Okay, so it wasn't blissful.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, it was not blissful. It was uncomfortable. I at one point I thought I had a heart issue. And then I started to understand through my guidance, through what was coming to me and what was happening around me, that through this process, as that energy rose, it was going to be making its way through all my channels to clear out information. And somehow that information clears from you is it's presented to you in your reality. So that's a lot of that stuff people would call karmic.
Okay.
Experience. They manifest because it's a purging, it's a clearing, it's a higher intelligence existing within you, cleaning out your programming, what you are creating from as center, and what you're contributing to the whole as humanity. And I know I'm not the only one who has had an awakening like that, because I've worked with others. It's intense and uncomfortable, and your whole life changes. It's not blissful, because some of the strongest souls have entered into some of the most challenging biology, the information carried within those bloodlines, and it's not pretty.
Okay. Okay. So it wasn't sunshine and rainbows. It was some darkness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then who was Ashley after? Like who you said there was programming, and there were things that shifted, there were things that lifted, there were things that,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel gifted. It felt like, it just was happening upon you. Who was the before and after of Ashley, you know?
Well, I feel like I've always had a strong center core. I've always had sensitivities and a specific light about me. And I've been in a lot of situations where I've felt really protected and guarded. And even going through all that, I felt it. It felt like I was cleaning away all the gunk that wasn't me. I was cleaning off, all the weeds, the mud, the muck, the debris, everything that was in between me and my light. It felt like all of that was being cleared out. My thoughts changed. My logic changed. I think differently. A lot of people aren't honest about how they think, but what they really think. There's so much going on in the world, but someone would never tell you, oh, I've had those thoughts. I've had that sensation. People don't tell you that, but it's there. It's there. And some of it's impure. And some of that, which existed in me, was cleared out. It was moved. It was dissolved. It no longer exists.
Okay.
And I think that's possible for other people. Some of it, I think, is pushed into us when we're adolescents. And then some of it, I think we just carry over. We're working through within the fractal geometry and encodement of our biology, of our DNA, and what triggers the expression of it. something. You know, how can you turn things on, turn things off? How can you adjust your being, like the isness that is you? But you can. You definitely can.
Wow. Wow. Adjusting the isness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa. I just see like a dial, you know, like I'm adjusting. I need to adjust the isness, right? Like I got the isness right here and I'm just adjusting just a little tweak, a small tweak on the isness. So that's interesting, you know, and thank you for sharing that testimony on,
Yeah.
you know, thank you for sharing that about how that happened to you, because when you're talking about the impurities were cleared and a lot of things disappeared. Earlier, you also spoke on your shadow self and you said your darkness, that there are aspects of you that you really enjoy or that you love, you know, that you love the dark aspects. Could you just touch on that for a second? Like the parts that people shy away or try to avoid or try to act like it's not there. You're saying you love those parts of yourself.
Yeah, they're like fun quirks in my personality, which may not be widely accepted as, you know, divine or I believe they are, or you know, spiritual. You know, some people have like an inner child or an inner, you know, grumpy old lady. I have an inner mean girl. Like she's got a little bit of an attitude. She's got a little bit of an attitude, but she entertains me. And I accept that part of myself. I used to avoid it. I used to not love her, but that is part of my persona. That is part of my ego that I accept and I value. So I still have ego, but I use it to my advantage.
Right. Because even when you say I still have ego, is ego something that someone could get rid of? Like, can you not have ego?
Maybe. I feel like you'd be pretty void. You'd be pretty void of personality and anything that makes you interesting. Like, you know, I think it's a tool for us to play this game and to experience reality and to get to know ourselves.
So the ego is a tool to play the game of reality.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Okay. You know, when we talk about the reality game or the game of life or the game of reality as it is, sometimes, you know, when people think of playing games, they think of winners and losers. Like there's a way to win and there's a way to lose. Do you see this game like that, or is it a different kind of game for you?
That's a really good question, Jerome. um, boy, that's a good question. I could look at it from different angles. I really could. I I could see I'm winning because I'm here and I'm within the experience and I can smell the scents and I can taste and I can feel what it means to be human. That feels like a win to me. But then I could look at that from another lens of perception and view myself, maybe I've lost. Maybe I'm trapped on this planet where people are doing heinous acts. People are starving. They're hurting each other. Nobody wants to help each other. You know, it's perceptual. I could look at it from both lenses, and I can see it as a reality from both lenses, depending on, you know, who you are and where you are and what's going on around you.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think I'm pretty neutral.
Mm-hmm.
On a grander scale, I do believe in the cycles of creation, and I believe that we are heading into something we've never been into, at least here in this universe. And I'm excited for that. It's a different way to play. So there's new rules.
Okay. Okay. You make it sound so exciting. You're like, game on. You know, you're like, challenge accepted. Let's find out. You know?
Now,
You're like, we're here now. So it's almost like you said, you know, everything else is a bonus. I'm here. I've arrived. I exist. I exist. You know, I have this body, I have this breath, I have this life, I have this opportunity, you know. So it's like something rolled the dice and now we're here. So
Yeah.
you're like, whatever else comes after that, it's like, hey, you know.
You're giving me goosebumps again. And I I connected with the intelligence of my body when I saw you go live. And my heart told me, have a conversation, connect with Jerome. And we need more of that. We need more of that. You know, I think once we get to a certain point of seeking, we realize like everything we were looking for, like outside, like you can actually find that. So when you're, you know, coming across channels like this, like, yes, I have my opinion, you know, you have yours and everything that you're teaching, but every single person needs to check in with yourself. Like, what resonates with you? What is the part you play in the greater whole? And honor that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the part we play in the grand picture, you know, the greater whole. I love this because I love that you say, Ashley, that you listen to your heart. I enjoy that you're able to get out of the headspace and into the heart space,
Yeah.
and into that and see, you know, okay, you just took a leap of faith. You didn't have to press the button. You know, you pressed the button
Yeah.
to come in. You didn't have to, but you did, you know? So when earlier you were talking about times where you're able to turn off your mind, you know, for some people who feel like, oh, I don't know how to meditate, you know, I tried that, I couldn't stop thinking, you know. And there's people that say that there's no way to stop thinking. It's not that you try to stop thinking, it's that you don't let your thoughts rule you.
Yeah.
You know, you control your thoughts, but you don't allow your thoughts to control you. So how did you say you said you turn off your mind? How is that done?
That takes discipline and practice, but you can absolutely do that. You just have to start referencing where you are in space and time. I have this body. My body is covered in skin. I have these bones. I can feel the position of my bones within my skin. And I start to reference myself. I am here having this conversation with you. My phone is there. What's the space in between? And you'll do the same thing with your thought forms. Start to reference how you're creating your reality, where you are, and connect with your senses, what you smell, what you taste, clothing on the skin, the little field of energy around your body. Start to reference where you're positioning yourself in reality. So it's like a process. It begins with your form, noticing your form so deeply, like the posture of your bones, clothing on the skin. I like to wiggle my fingers and toes to introduce myself to the nervous system, which is going to be a huge tool for you as your reality presents opportunities for self-mastery. When you get triggered, breath, fingers and toes, body awareness. That's the first step. And then you start to reference what ideas you're thinking, because those thought forms enter in to the nervous system, become point of resonance, connect. What is your story? What is your I am? But it starts with the body. It starts with the senses.
Okay. Okay, so it's like we have to lose our mind and come to our
There you
senses.
go. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And detox the phone, detox the music, really sit with yourself, you know? It can be really uncomfortable because a lot of individuals they got 20, 30 tabs open.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just running like on overdrive. You got to close all those tabs.
Yeah.
And you got to come in
Yeah.
to present.
You got click out, click out, click out, click out, click out, and tune in. Yeah.
Really tune. You said something earlier about, we were talking about comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
start using your greatest and best version as the only reference. The past is gone. Whatever has been done is done. Any failures, erase, clear, unless they serve you based on your perception. Focus solely on that version of you. That's your reference point. It's not anyone else. It's you and that path. And we just get super disciplined. And nothing gets in. You don't let anything else in, the doubt, the fear. And if it does come in, console it like you would a child that doesn't realize its potential yet. Give it love, compassion, understanding, and continue the path.
Okay. This is a great practice. You know, these are great practices, like, and great tools to have at your disposal. They're like gadgets on your tool belt, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gave me a vision, Ashley. Have you ever seen a movie called Kill Bill?
I have, yes.
With Uma Thurman. So there was a movie called Kill Bill. You've seen it. There was a scene in the first movie where she, you know, the main character, the main actress, she found herself in a coma. She woke up from a coma, and someone was actually coming to the room to, you know, to nix her, you know, to take care of her after she came from this traumatic event. And they were coming to do away with her, you know, but she thwarted their attempt. And when she got out of the hospital bed, she didn't have the use of her legs. So she had to thwart the attempt of these attackers without her bottom half, you know, only her top half. And then she somehow she slammed the door on her assailant. She got the keys to his car, and she dragged herself across the hospital floor all the way outside. She dragged herself somehow to the car in the parking lot and jumped in the back seat. And she focused and honed in and concentrated solely on her big toe.
Yep.
It was a whole scene.
Oh.
Like,
I'm remembering this now. I remember that part. Yeah.
It was like, wiggle your big toe, wiggle your big toe for the whole scene. That was her only focus, because she already knew, even though she'd lost the use of her limbs, she knew she would regain them. Like, she never lost hope. She never had doubt. She had all the faith that she was going to regain the use of her limbs. She said, wiggle your big toe.
Yeah.
And finally, it wiggled just a little, like, little jiggle. And she said, all right, let's get these other piggies wiggling. let's get these wiggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're talking about. That's powerful. And you can take that with you and just focus on your big toe when you're stuck in the storm, in the midst of chaos.
Wow. So, fingers and toes, you know, just something that you said about toes got me to think about that scene. Like, when you feel like, you know, you can't go out, go in.
Yeah.
Go back in, tune in.
Have you ever experienced like that fight or flight in a situation? Like, some people experience it with their family, some people experience it in relationships. It's just the body freezes and you're in fight or flight. You don't know what to do. Either the mind's, you know, thinking too much, or you're not thinking at all. And the fingers and toes will help you. Breath, fingers, toes. Breath, fingers, toes.
Yeah, the breath has definitely helped me in those situations where, you know, I've been in boxing matches, sparring with, you know, people in the gym and actual, you know, boxing events where it's just me and an opponent, you know, just me and somebody coming at me. And, you know, I don't know them, they don't know me. Both of us are checking each other. You get hit with it's the one that you don't see that gets you, right? The punch you don't see coming. And, you know, you might be phased for a moment, you might be dazed for a moment, but when you come back to your breath and you slow it down, we think how we breathe and we breathe how we think. So it's like, if it's like this, then the mind is like this. But when the breath is like this, then the mind is like this, you know? Yeah.
You're bringing me in tune with the senses. And then when the mind is like that, you can feel those subtle energies and you know exactly what to do and when to do it.
Yeah. You can make the right judgments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
This
was
is,
a great
go ahead.
This was great. I always love conversating with you, and everything you do is so valuable and impactful. Thank you for accepting me on your live.
Hey, thank you for accepting yourself. You know, thank you for choosing yourself. Thank you for admitting yourself. You know, you gave yourself permission. I can't do it. You know, I don't have the power to just bring, summon people in here like,
Are you
actually,
sure? Are you sure? Because that's magnetism. I think you do. I think you do.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, well, blessings. We'll have to do it again, but I love it. I love each time that we get together. It's always something magical, and you bring us to the metaphysical. You help us remember, and you bring us back together to the things that we might have forgot. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerome. I'm going to hop off.
All right. All right. Take care.